So I was born and raised in Birmingham. Prior to now, the only time I spent outside of Birmingham consistently was the 3 years I was in Jackson, Mississippi for college. And then I came home and kind of knocked around and found a few jobs here and there. And someone asked me, "Hey, do you want to be a firefighter?" And my first response was no, just for the danger level. And then I could just hear it in the back of my head. But you don't really like your current job, and it's not a career. So before that person left the room, I was like, I'll give it a shot. So I sat down, filled out the information, got it turned in, went through the process, and became a firefighter. Uh, One of the best decisions in my adult life. Had a great career, 20 years, was able to retire without any major health issues. Um, Tons of memories, tons of friends, lots of certifications, and it really just kind of pointed me in the direction that I've kind of just wandered into now. So when let me see, I think it was 2000, I want to say 2013 when I got promoted to an officer. I was a lieutenant, and I kind of did that for 2 years as a officer at a fire station with the crew. And around 2015, I was asked to join the training staff. So I took that opportunity, and that's how I became familiar with TEEX, because we would go do some of the classes and some of the training, and we would always research on how to get better with what we're delivering. And TEEX just kept coming up. And then one of my mentors was like, "Well, hey, you should go out there and take, the 314 class." And I was like, "Okay, I'll give it a shot." And signed up, and I came out, took the class, and had a great time. It was very informative, met lots of people. I was super impressed with the facility. Um, and came home and sang the praises like everybody else does when they take one of our classes. It's great. Everybody should give it a shot. It's very informative, very nice, well done. Um, I, I want to say it was like 2018 when somebody reached out to me and said, "Hey, there's a full-time opening out at Diggs." And I was like, "Oh, that's great." Never really considered really that it would be something serious. And so I turned in my resume, and then I just kind of forgot about it. And I think like 4 months after I turned in the resume, I got reached out to, and it's like, "Oh, okay, we had a short break, but we're going to continue the process and we're going to move forward." Now, the entire time, I'm just thinking, okay, this is just exposure for me. So for whatever I do after the fire service, because I had no intentions on retiring, because I was loving my job. I was having a great time. I had great people around me. I was doing this just to kind of go through the process. What would happen if I wasn't doing it? And so they would reach out to me like, "Hey, we're going to do a Skype interview." I'm like, "Okay, cool, whatever you got to do," you know. And so they we went through the Skype interview. I met the panel, and we sat down and just had a great interview and great conversation. And then after that, it was like, "Okay, well, it was nice to meet you. We'll talk to you later. We'll keep you in touch." And I'm thinking, like I've always heard, we'll keep your resume on file. That's what I was thinking. I just figured at some point it just sitting in a drawer, and maybe somebody would think about it in 10 years from now, like, "Oh, remember that guy?" And so shortly after that, HR reached out to me and they sent me an offer letter. And I literally looked at it like, what is this? And I'm looking at it and I'm reading it and I'm like, "Oh, wait, they seriously want me to do this." I was like, "Oh, awesome." So I had already had the conversation with my family before all of that began, just as a what if this happens? What would it look like? What would be really available to? And my wife is originally from Ohio, so she knows what it's like to move across country. So it wasn't even a scare for her. She was very supportive. And so when the letter came, I had to call back and ask for like a month extension, because at that point I needed to retire and I didn't know what the process would be. So they gave me instead of starting in May, they said I could start in June, which was totally fine. And then I went through the retirement process, shocked a lot of people because, again, I didn't walk around saying I'm about to retire. This is it. I'm headed out. I just kind of, for 1 week, I was like, "Well, guys, I got a job somewhere else. I'm going to retire." And then I just completely disappeared. And so the department that I worked for had a roughly 650 people, rotating shifts. So there was a lot of people that didn't know I was even gone because I didn't go through the regular, "Hey, this guy's retiring. We're going to have a party, I'm saying, wish him well." I just kind of disappeared. But those close to me knew. that, what was going on and where I was headed, and they all wished me well. And a couple of people just started reaching out after I left. So, and that's kind of the overarching how I made it to the Teagues. Over and over again, coming from where I'm from in Birmingham, is a lot of people didn't make it out. And this is not just um, restricted to Birmingham; it's across the country. But it's one of those neighborhoods that I came from where um, we were hit with all these different things at one time: the gang culture, drug sales, fathers leaving households. We all had to overcome a lot, and we made it out. Some of us made it out. Actually, specifically, I think two from my street, unscathed. When I say made it out, I mean never been to jail, still alive. Things of that nature. The positives of life. That people would consider regular. It took a lot for us to get to regular. But one thing that allowed me to overcome all this adversity is my grandmother and my mom. So my dad passed away when I was 9 years old, and so they kind of banded together to make sure that I stayed away from all of that. My sister and I stayed away from all of that. And when I tell you, those two women had a direct line to God's ear, because um, a lot of the stuff that I got into, again, coming from my neighborhood, going into the fire service, making it out unscathed is again the answer to their specific prayers that covered me throughout my career and continues to cover my family and I to this day. So making it out is basically for me faith-based. Going through adversity, I know that I'm doing things for a reason and I'm here for a purpose. And so adversity is just part of it. That's not the. I always look at adversity as like I'm close to whatever the breakthrough is. So if it's becoming tough, that means because I'm about to get where I'm supposed to do. I'm about to accomplish what it is that I'm set here to do. So I don't get frustrated about it. It can trip you up, but if you keep your mind focused on the bigger picture, you'll get through it and you'll be better on the back end of it. So any advice for anybody that wants to join the fire service, I would just kind of give them the advice of, now you got to remember the fire service has changed. It is, it's not what it used to be. It's not sitting around the fire station waiting on a fire to come. It's most departments are an EMS service that fight fire every now and again. And so it's a constant growth and development and training and study. And as I stated before, the more you do something, the better you get at it. So instead of waiting on an emergency to come around, constantly train to get better. Whether it's your EMS skills, whether it's your firefighter skills, whether it's your management and leadership skills, it is a constant training to get better. Still, not the only way, but that's one of the ways that you'll survive, because you'll be informed. On those down days and that downtime, there's nothing wrong with, doing more research, signing up for more classes, taking your own initiative to do things on your own so that you're ready. So when it's your turn to be in a position of leadership, whether that's an official promotion or you're just a higher senior ranking person that day, no matter what comes up, you're ready. Like we always used to joke when I used to do training academies, like, hey, if a spaceship lands in the middle of First Avenue, people are going to call 911 and they're going to expect you to do something. So you better have something in your mind on what it is you're going to do at that point. And so that's my advice. Just continue to study, continue to work, and those that transcends all different careers. You have to continue to grow and develop and get better in order to be a better person and a better leader. When I was younger, in my view, everyone else was better than me. Just my own mental cage. It's like if somebody was taller, faster, stronger, more handsome, more educated, it was always another person that was that much better than I. So you just kind of have to get out of that mentality, because it's in you. Everybody has it in them to tap into that source inside of them to overcome whatever comes up in front of them. So you have to be able to sit still and quiet your mind and just focus on what needs to be done. The surroundings will, so life will give you those opportunities to show that you're ready. Like I had people telling me that way before I knew it about myself. Like, hey man, you're ready. You have it in you. Like somebody's going to tell you, somebody told me that. And they're like, you're ready, you have it in you. But I had to tap into it myself. I had to get inside of myself and block out my own thoughts of saying, you know what? And now for my firefighter friends, they'll understand this point. I had to get to a point where I was like, wait a minute, if this guy can get promoted, then certainly I could do it. I can do it. And I know that's kind of horrible, but you think about it, like there are other people out there who are already believing in themselves and already preparing themselves, and that's more so what it is. So whether you're, whatever your ethnicity is, whether you're male, female, gender, whatever, you are good enough to do it. You just have to prepare for that moment. When that moment shines, especially in the fire service or public safety, the response, the people who call for the response don't care who show up. They just want somebody to show up. They don't care if you're a Republican, a Democrat. They don't care if you're male, female, Christian, Muslim. They don't care what it is. If this is on fire, grab that water and put it on there. That's all they care about. And so if you're prepared to respond when it comes to your time, your opportunity to respond, you'll be just fine. It has nothing to do with skin color or gender. So I guess another piece of advice that has helped me throughout my career is also having mentors, great people who are already in the field, who've already accomplished or already been through what you're about to face. They can reach back and help you navigate your way through it. They made mistakes as well, so they're going to help you. And just having that person that you can trust. As a matter of fact, it was a mentor who got me to take the class out of TEACS the first time. So being surrounded with positive people, keeping your mind clear, strengthening your faith, and just be ready.